Each year in the United States, thousands of major crimes go unsolved. When the case has gone cold and police have nowhere to turn, they seek assistance from the public. This is a program dedicated to solving these cases. This is Crime Stoppers Case Files.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for another Northeast Ohio edition of Crime Stoppers Case Files. I'm Bob Frantz. There are over 1,400 Crime Stoppers organizations operating around the world. These organizations empower citizens like you to become directly and anonymously involved in fighting crime in our communities. Each week on this television program, we'll share facts with you from unsolved cases, and you'll have the opportunity to submit information that may help investigators, possibly earning yourself a cash reward without ever having to give your name. Let's get to work. Michael Carter Jr. was a nice kid. The 23-year-old was the only child of Michael and Marcia Carter of Bedford Heights. Who killed their boy and why? This family needs your help. Let's give it to them. Let's solve the murder of Michael Carter Jr.
Well, my son was a great kid. We had a great time and a great life with him. He was never a troublemaking kid. He's never in trouble with the police or anything. He was always active in things like band and football and baseball. He was my only child.
I've known Mike since 7th grade. We go back a long ways, played football, 8th, 9th grade. Really great guy. Mike was always there. He was one of those people, I kept around, kept close. A lot of respect for him as a person. Definitely, man. Whenever I had a problem or if I had a question about anything, he always went out of his way to answer.
Michael, he was a loving person. He was caring, compassionate. If he can help anyone, he always did. He always stayed out of trouble.
He was a very friendly kid. Always was, from a baby on. He was always just a friendly guy. And he loved people.
He wasn't a problem, he was a problem solver. Whenever people had problems, they would come to Mike. He would always talk people through whatever it was that they was going through. If it was anything that he could help them with, he always did. That's the kind of person that he was.
Cleveland Police, right? I wanted to report gunshots in an apartment parking lot.
Okay, what's the location?
3635 Perkins.
How many shots did you hear?
3. I was outside and I saw a big black look like a Cadillac or a Lincoln drive away. Like squeal away.
Okay.
There's still like 50 people out in the parking lot that don't live here.
Okay, we're getting the police out.
That evening, the 7th of May, was my birthday, and we went out for dinner. And after we were done celebrating, we came home, and Mike was going to meet with his friends. He left at about 3 o'clock in the morning and arrived downtown where his friends were going to meet him.
That night, I was actually supposed to meet him down there. It's crazy. I got a call from him. He had told me, earlier that night he was out with his mom. He said, well, I've been having some problems out of my phone. My battery's dying. So I was out working, and he actually gave me a call. He gave me instructions, let me know, well, I'm down here. This is how you get there. When I actually left work and I headed towards him, I tried to give him a call. There was no answer. So I called another friend of ours, who was working there. And he said, man, something terrible's happened. Somebody's, got hurt or possibly killed. Try to find Mike, try to call Mike. That's what he told me.
We know for a fact Michael Carter stopped in a parking lot at 38th and Perkins Avenue. His intention was to visit friends and spend the rest of the evening meeting people, maybe greeting people he knew at the time. He parks his vehicle in a lot located there. We know he walked out of the lot within seconds of him leaving his car. A person or persons unknown to us at the time walked from behind his car, handgun in hand, and fires several shots, striking Michael Carter. Michael Carter at that time dies.
I was about to go inside this club and we see this guy laid out here on the car, by his car dead.
The next day was Mother's Day, and we were supposed to go out for a meal again to celebrate Mother's Day. And I called him on his cell phone, and nobody answered. I left a voicemail. And then the police came to the house right after that and told us that he had been murdered. Nothing like this has ever happened to us. It was the most painful thing ever. And to add to that pain, not to know who hurt my baby, it's hard to get over.
We knew that Michael did have a weapon in his car, and he did have a permit to carry that weapon. The weapon was secured in the trunk area of the car. Maybe he had a sixth sense that, you know, he was getting robbed, or he saw something, and he may have tried to get to his weapon, not only to save his life, but stop whatever could have happened in that parking lot that night.
In 1975, the first Crime Stoppers organization was formed by a detective who believed media attention helped solve cases. Since then, thousands of Crime Stoppers organizations have been formed around the globe with the same mission, encouraging members of the public to stand up against crime. Every 14 minutes, Crime Stoppers help solve a crime somewhere in the world. Get involved.
We know that there is a lot of people in the area that saw what happened. We do have video from that area showing us several people. There are cars coming in and out of that parking lot during that time. There's people leaving and coming to the parking lot at that time. We're looking for one person to step up to the plate, make a telephone call, and say, hey, here's what I saw, here's who did it.
My wife woke me up at 1 o'clock the next day, told me, you know, my best friend was gone. And that, man, it was just unbelievable, you know, knowing that you were just talking, you know, to that person, and you were just headed towards, you know, to meet that person.
It's changed our lives tremendously. We went on vacation. We were supposed to stay the whole weekend for a family reunion. We only wound up staying one day. Couldn't take it. Seeing the rest of the family all together with their family, and us, we only have one, and we don't have him with us. He was taken for no reason.
I know that someone has information that they're not sharing with the police. I need them to know that there will be no repercussions for coming forward with this information. Crime Stoppers doesn't divulge who it was that gave any information, but they do offer a reward for it, and we need somebody to tell us who took our baby. He never left the house without saying, I love you, Mom. And I miss that to this day. I love you, Mom. He can't hear it anymore. I can't do this. I'm sorry.
It's a shame that nobody is willing to step forward and, you know, make that step, you know. Somebody's mom is going through it, somebody's father is going through it, somebody's girlfriend is going through it, you know. I just don't understand how somebody can do something like this and there be no repercussions or no answers.
Michael Carter Jr. was probably just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Who will be the next unsuspecting victim to unwittingly cross paths with this ruthless murderer or murderers? Will it be someone you know, someone you care about? We have to do something about this insanity now. If you know anything at all that can help law enforcement to solve this case, call Crime Stoppers. "26-year-old Albert Austin Jr., the father of a young son and a friend to many, was gunned down in front of his girlfriend's apartment. Law enforcement has been working very hard to find the killer, but they need your help. Can you help us solve this case? Let's take a look.
Today, we're here on behalf of our son, Albert J. Austin, and he was slain last year on September 23rd, 2008, around 11:50 p.m. My son, he was a very good kid, a very outgoing, fun, loving person. When he was a kid, he had a good personality, a warm spirit. He'd give you the shirt off his back.
He played so many jokes on people that would make you laugh, and we all used to laugh, joke around, play fight, you know. He loved to be around me and my other two brothers and his son.
He was very funny. He always cracked jokes with people, and he was very lovable. He loved his son.
He always had a lot of friends. He always was the light of the room. Wherever he was, he always had a crowd near him. He was working at a factory, and he basically was running presses there. Up until the time he passed, he was in between job assignments. And when he did pass, he wasn't working at that time. He was out looking. He was going to come aboard with me over at my job.
Cleveland 911, please ambulance or fire.
It's going to be the police and ambulance. I don't know for sure. I just heard 5 shots firing. A guy running down the street on Lakeshore. I live on Windward and Hilliard. He's running down the street, and I heard 5 shots firing. He's like, "Help! Please help!"
This crime occurred on Tuesday night, September 23rd, at approximately 11:45 p.m. It occurred at the rear of 18012 Lakeshore. There's an apartment building at that location, and in the rear there's a parking garage for the apartment building itself. The victim, Albert Austin, was shot in the rear of this location.
It was that same night. My wife was talking to my son on the phone, and he went to pick up some takeout food over at Lakeshore Boulevard. By the time he got home, which was probably about a half a block, my wife was talking to him up until the point he left out of the sports bar.
He was happy going, saying what he was going to do for that next day and stuff like that. He said, "Well, Ma, could you take me here?" And I said, "Well, AJ, I got to go to work, and I got to take Granny to work and stuff like that. I see what time I get back, and I take you where you have to go." And the last word I heard him say was, "Hold on, Ma." And he said, And AJ, I'm like, AJ. At that time, I knew he was shot.
The victim had exited his car and was walking toward the rear entrance of his apartment building when his assailant approached him. According to the witness, there were no words exchanged. This person just came right up to him and started shooting. And one of the shots struck the victim, at which time the victim ran eastbound through the rear of that parking lot. And there's a stockade fence that is situated east of that apartment building, in which the victim jumped over that fence. And upon jumping over that fence, he entered into another parking lot of the next apartment building. And then he ran down Lakeshore going eastbound to the next street over. And at that time, he went to a house on Windward, which is the next street over, the first house on Windward, and knocked on the door, pounded on the door, because at that time he was frantic upon receiving a gunshot wound. The resident of that house did come to the door, saw the condition of the victim, and called 911.
I called his girlfriend, and I'm like, "I think he was shot. You need to, open up the door and see what's going on." I'm like, "Well, call me back. Try to call him." I called him maybe 50 times. That phone rang, went to voicemail. And then by that time, his girlfriend called back and said the police was knocking at the door. They asked her, "Are you expecting a young man to come, home, or a husband?" She said, yeah. And they told her, "Well, I think he might have been shot." And that's when I got to screaming, throwing phones and everything.
She called and said that AJ has been shot. I couldn't cry right away because I was still in shock about everything. It really didn't hit me.
I told my husband, "Get up, because I think AJ was shot." And he jumped up, got his clothes on. I said, "Go find him." I said, "I can't go. I have asthma." And I couldn't breathe or do nothing.
I remember Marshall telling me that everybody was at the hospital, and she wanted me to give him a kiss for her. We got to the hospital and they wouldn't let nobody back there but his grandmother and Al, his father. I was so upset because I just wanted to say goodbye to him, and I wanted to keep my promise to his mother that I would kiss him.
And by the time I got to the hospital, My son, he was gone. He passed away.
The assailant or the persons responsible for his death probably knew him pretty well because they waited in a specific area in which was obviously routine for him to drive this vehicle, which they recognized the vehicle, they knew the vehicle, they knew the parking lot, they knew the space where he was going to park the vehicle and the garage, and they knew where he was going to enter into the rear of his apartment building. And this is where this person concealed themselves in the dark, just waiting for the victim to come home.
We now continue with the case of the homicide of Albert Austin Jr.
I couldn't even look my son in the face because I saw his father and him, and all I could do was cry all that night. But every day, every night, I go through something because I don't have my AJ, my grandson's father. It hurts so bad. I be at work, and I work in the bakery. When I did go back to work, I got an order, and it said, "Happy birthday, AJ." I had to write "Happy birthday, AJ" on a cake.
As his younger sister, it's like he was the head of our bond as siblings. And people don't realize that when it's a bond of siblings, once one fall, we all fall. And it's hard for us to get back up and continue this journey of life on our own. Like, if it's a problem, we turn to our oldest brother, and we can't do that now, you know?
They took a son, and they took a father, and they took a grandson. He's a good kid. He didn't deserve this. Nobody deserves to leave this earth like that. You want to leave here old with your children around you, not violently in the street like an animal.
My son deals with it in different ways. He asks other people where they daddy at and whether they daddy is in heaven with his or not. And that hurts me because my 4-year-old son should not have to. My son should not have to feel what my son is feeling right now. He should not be without a father.
But I'm dealing with it with the grace of God. But I just want whoever did that to my son to come forward. If your son, your daughter, anybody knows something about it, talk to them and tell them, hey, that woman and her family is hurting. Get out there and do what you got to do. If you know somebody that knows something, just tell it, because it's hurting. Should no parent have to go through this?
There's plenty of memories around our home. I go downstairs in the basement where he was all the time. It's fixed up nice down there, and I've got two pairs of his tennis shoes that's just over in the corner. I can't bring myself to put all of his belongings away, just thinking that he's gonna come back. And his memories are all around us, and I just wanted to say that he's with me wherever I go, and he's always going to be with me. And the thing about it that hurts is that whatever this beef was about, it was senseless. He's a hero to some, and his legacy isn't tarnished at all. We want those individuals brought to justice, and just give us some closure. If you know anything, please come forward with it, because we're hurting every day, and it tears our hearts up every day to know that he was taken away so young. Best years of him were still ahead of him, not behind him. So please come forward with any information you have, please.
We talked to some residents, and there was a witness to the crime. This witness was not able to see the person's face, but we did get a description, and the description was a black male wearing a dark blue hoodie, approximately 6 feet to 6'1", maybe 200 pounds, and probably dark-skinned male.
Do you know anything about this murder? If you do, pick up the phone and call Crime Stoppers right now. Help us close this terrible chapter in the lives of Albert Austin's family members. And remember, you can do it anonymously, and you can earn a cash reward. Thank you for joining us for another edition of Crime Stoppers Case Files, where you are empowered to help clean up the streets. Remember, our towns and our neighborhoods are a direct reflection of what we allow them to be. So let's all do our part to make them safe. And we'll see you next time for another edition of Crime Stoppers Case Files.